Comrades, it's Premier Rever, and I am back again, and as always, looking down at the Dove Revergrad City. I said that backwards. Anyway, I saved myself from whatever else I was about to say, right? And look at that. We have the little road there, let's commit to that before we end up deleting it, right? There we go. That's what we did at the very end of the last episode. So good. So we have some people. Hopefully we can get some more roads built, right? Let's make sure these guys are assigned to those roads. Oops. I really haven't done too much other than, we ended the last episode with looking into... Let me do this first, or else I won't be able to think. There we go, yeah. I thought that might have cut them off from that. Is this assigned? It is now. No, don't do that last one. Okay, good enough. I want to get back over there and make this episode mostly about designing the new car manufacturing locations. But I also wanted to point out something. It's been, obviously, if you've been following all of my videos, you'll know that we did some testing on the different farms. And I want to point out that, depending on your circumstances, you may find that 3-5-4, meaning 3 tractors, 5 harvesters, and 4 trucks doesn't work for you. So in other words, this is a situation like my farm here. Now the particular reason, I think there's a reason, but if you look, we have the 3 harvesters are out there harvesting, right? But the tractors, or actually we got 5 of them. Yeah, this is hard, but the tractors really aren't keeping up very well. Like this field, is it even sown? Well, this one is sown. It's going to make a liar out of me. But I did notice that the tractors aren't necessarily always keeping up with this. And one of the things I would say is if you have these old tractors, see these green tractors here? Let's get rid of them. Like they're the T28, and I'll show you. Let's go to sowing. Their speed is only 17, so that's the kind of thing that if you have, like when you're first starting out, you're not going to be able to buy the faster tractors, right? Might not be worth it to you at some other point, but that's a lot more money, to get the fastest tractor. Now, why is this one? That's a good question. This one goes a little bit faster. So there's some debate there with all of this equipment. I don't mean to get into like every situation. This is always the best thing because that's simply not true. I'm trying to answer like the science behind what is working, and then I'll leave it to you as the engineers to go implement it, right? You now know that this tractor is slower. This tractor is faster with the number of kilometers an hour, and you understand, a ballpark of, that this isn't going to work with the fastest harvesters in line, right? So anyway, let's come up here, and I want to sell these, even though it might not be the best thing to do right in the middle of their work, right? We're just going to sell each one of them. 25,000 each we get for them, and then I'm going to go ahead and get this one, that has the 28 speed, right? So now we're going to replace those with the faster tractors, and they should be able to keep up in this 3-5-4 setup that I have on this farm. Now this one over here, these 2 farms, just to give you an idea, I haven't changed them over. And this is a little bit, Radomir had made a comment about, I use 336. And it was, if you're early game and you don't have the bigger tractor trailers. But really, when you look, we're not fully keeping up with these. This is 24 fields and 2 farms. And just because it's not an ideal setup, now could we do better with 3-5-4s? Maybe, but at the same time, the 4-4-4 is working awful well. And if you look, like in a lot of cases, we're not getting all the crops off the field anyway. So maybe this is where we would consider something more along the lines of Radomir's 3-3-6, where what he's doing is he's getting more of these trucks in line in order to get that. Now maybe we do, instead of that, we do, 3-4-5 might work, right? So in other words, where we take away one of these, let's go over here. We take away one of the sowing tractors, right? Since we have the faster sowing tractors over here, we get rid of one of the harvesters, or I'm sorry, we get rid of one of the sowing tractors and we get an extra covered truck, right? Because it's too far on these dirt roads. Remember when I did my test, I had all, or maybe what we do is we come in here and we pave all these roads, right? So that these trucks can work more efficiently. So again, I'm not trying to answer all of the different circumstances that you might have on your map and the way you choose to play and set it up. But I just want to introduce the concept and share our knowledge about this. So thank you for all of your comments. Those have been learning and what do we got going on here? Yeah, did we get rid of this cleared up? Sorry. So anyway, yeah, thanks for all your comments on the farms and we'll keep learning together. But know that I'm running 4-4-4 and I'm running 3-5. We're going to see if that helps with the faster tractors over here. And you know what? You just may not like big fields, right? Now, what are we doing here? So yeah, I was afraid of that. Yeah, so what we need to do, that's not a big deal. We can fix this real quick. He just got on the other side of that signal, even though he's got a crisscross and he's all two-way the other way, because I assigned him to come out there. Now this should be okay, right? Yeah. Okay, this is one of the reasons we're going to pause it in a minute. But anyway, we're working on getting these tracks all electrified, which is good. We need to get this up here completed. So we'll see what happens, right? Yeah, keep letting those guys pass. Okay. Anyway, let's head back up here. How is our steel doing? It's taken the guy quite a while to make his steel loop. I have him going to all the stops, and little slowdowns like that, that's our steel guy now going down to Importska, even though he doesn't need to, right? But I might as well let him go now because, yeah, he's 3/4 of the way there. Anyway, all right, so let's go ahead and pause it. I know a lot of you guys don't like the perma-pause, but that's what's going to happen until we get this area laid out. Now, I've been thinking about it, and what I want to do is set out how far up here I want to level, right? Because I don't know if I want to level more into this hill or just come out this way. I don't think there's any reason to level too much more into this hill. Let me put on the wireframe. Yeah, it's getting to be an awful lot of level there for what I need. And yeah, I think we can make this work. So what I want to do is start out with actually a rail line. And this will be representative of our passenger rail line, right? So our passenger rail line is going to come in here like that. And then it's going to turn around and come back the other way, right? One way or the other. And then we're going to have, we only need like a small platform. Now this might go further into the hill there, right? But I just want to set like how far out it would be at a minimum, right? Like so that way I know where to put this so that the people would be relatively close. So let's get rid of one of these. And I would say that's pretty good for right now, like as far as spacing goes. Let's play pause real quick, get rid of that other building, right? So that would mean that this area here, we would start really talking about what I want to do. So what I would like to do is have 6 separate train lines coming in, right? If we come over here and look at what we have 6 different but materials that need to come in. And I would like 6 lines that would come in that would allow for at least 12 total trains. So what that means is I want a staging for each train somewhere on here. Now it could be up here, right? Like picture the line coming in this way and then breaking off. But I want a place to be able to have 2 trains up here waiting to drop off all of their stuff, right? And then what I want is trains that will go from this warehouse / train station. They're going to come like just one train that would come from there and drop off to both of these, right? Now the problem with that is do we really want two trains, right? So I'm not sure how to best do it because like, wouldn't it be nice if we could have one train going from here to here, almost like you would normally use trucks, but I want to try to use trains. So I'm not sure the best way to set this up, but let's just start, right? And if we get it a little bit wrong, we'll correct. So what we're going to need, that means each one of these would need 5 of these warehouses and 1 small storage for the steel, right? So we might as well start with the small storage. Now, we can't do small storage. We have to do medium storage because it has the train connection, right? I don't want to particularly mess with the road connection. I mean, if we did this, that's sticking out awful far, right? Now, when we did this, these are a little bit shorter. Well, they also go a little bit sideways, which would be good too, right? So if we did something like this, try to get that, is that too close? Can we get a road connection? Sorry, I mean a factory connection. Yes. So that rail is like right here. And then what I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, it would be better to do like this, right? Let's turn that so it's kind of straight. Yeah, because it doesn't really need to be anything. I mean, we need a road connection, but that should be okay there, right? So there's 2 of them. Now, again, this is all subject to much change, and we could bring, well, now the railroad tracks would have to come this way and in, right? And then, how many more, do we have? 1, 2, 3, yeah, we have just enough. So we would have to use all of these, unless we wanted to do, like, sharing. Yeah, like, I wonder if we could then do, yeah, we could come in either way, right? Let's see, can we get that? Yeah, that's ugly, but I don't care. Yeah, I like the way that's tucked in. See, what I'm saying sharing, I mean, you know, if we built one more of these, just say like that, we would then have, we actually only have 5 different materials. So then what I'd probably do is like leave one of these just to have a train sitting there. And then what we could do is, let's go back out to railroads. You know, we could have something like this where we don't actually bring the, right? Because 2 trains could sit in here. Oops. Right, where the train would fill up each of these. Now, the only problem when you start getting into these trying to share is that it just never seems to balance like the way you would expect it. I really just wish they would send all their stuff to the end result instead of doing that stupid balancing thing that they do. But that would work, right? And then we'd have to have another one here. No. Because one of them, there's 5. There's not 6. See, what I'm worried about is that this would, well, we could say hold a certain balance. Yeah, this stupid balancing thing really makes this harder. Yeah, let's not do that. We're going to do, yeah, we're going to do just 1 each, just for the stupid balancing thing. That way the train can come in and load what it has to unload, not worry about some other train loading, and then it's... All right, so those are worked out. Let's delete this one as well, because that's going to have to be a little bit different. Because it was blocking. So we got 2 of them attached like this, right? So now we would need... Well, no, this guy could go out that way, right? And then we would have another one that could go out like this way. And then the final one, would that work? Yeah, probably. Would go like this. I mean, so again, this is just, I'm going to move this around, but it gives us an idea of what we would need to do. So the worst part, of all of this is this train track having to come out this way, I think. Because remember, well, this would just be like one train. Yeah, the train would have to be able to come in and go back out. So I'm going to take all of this and want to move it to someplace over here. Let me do that off camera because it'll be a little bit time consuming. But I'm going to take this same idea and just work out some of the details like over here as far as like how we would get the trains in and out of here, if that makes sense. All right, I'll see you guys in 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, what do you guys think of this as a start? So, you know, we're far enough away from where our passenger track might come in. And then we also left a little bit of room, or it looks like we'd have a little bit of room. I'm not sure where it's going to be best to have the passenger station. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like we have footpaths possibilities all over the place. I don't think we need more than one, right? So we still might do it up here. But in any event, there is the 6 different things in and out. I changed this up a little bit, you know, by making this kind of come off of either end. And then this one could loop around. Now, I don't really like this. We might, if you think about it, if I move this over a little bit and kind of flipped it around, it might be better. But the reason I did it this way is if you look at the road faces out. So the other thing that I'm trying to keep in mind is that we could do this by road or truck, right? Like there's no reason with all of these kind of facing in a good direction. I mean, we can pave this stuff out and do it with trucks as well as with that. So this layout, if you didn't want to build all the rail to get going, you could at least build the roads, which you kind of have to build the roads anyway, just to be able to build everything. So, you know, you could get this fired up by using trucks and then eventually try to put it in with rail. But anyway, let's now go see what we can do about this incoming materials attaching to these 6, right? So what I would picture is that I'm going to try to keep all of these separate and that they would also need to attach to this second one, right? So in other words, we're going to have 6 rail lines coming this way now. We would also end up with like another group of them coming in. Now, how we don't turn this into a big spaghetti mess, I'm not quite sure right now, but let's get an idea of the space that this would take up. And I'm going to start all the way over here. And what I was thinking of is something, well, I should start down here. Let's get rid of this. Yeah, just use the regular delete tool. What I'm thinking of is that we need to do this in a staggered way, right? Like, so these trains, when they pull in, will pull in, drop off, and then go back out. And like I said, there'll be 6 trains doing this. And the reason for that is I want to stagger these guys. So, like, in other words, this one should be the furthest this way to the left there, as I'm looking at it. And then the final one would be the furthest this way. Now let's leave a little bit of room just so that we can, right? So we would have something like this. Right? Where each of these trains could come in, drop its stuff off, and then we would have 2 warehouses. We don't have the warehouses there. and or whatever it is that would sort of make sense here too, right? Like, so in other words, we would have like this. I think that will connect. Yeah, it's actually kind of easier to do it, I think, from this menu, where you can then real quickly make sure those connect. And then let's get this guy back out again. And I can't see because that. Need to go look in the settings to see if they. Yeah, like that. Right, so like the problem is that getting, I think that might be getting too close to this. Now we definitely might need, if we're going to do, we might need to level off a little bit more of that. Now the other question I would have too is if we did the identical thing, maybe whatever this thing is comes off the back here, right? Because that's the other thing to keep in mind too. Like, depending on how we do this, like some of these lines may come up this way. Like if you picture, we're going to have an identical one on the second plan over here. So this guy could break off of there at some point. So let me see if I can do it in some way. Go back over to Rails. See, the problem's going to be, like, imagine this, like, spins around, right? Like, because I just leveled that off. And then it comes into here, but then at some point, far enough away that, well, it would have to come in here, and then it would have to come back out, right? Yeah, see, that's not going to let me do that. So it would stop at this one and then stop at that one. But I'd also like to make it so that it could... well, would we ever do 2 trains? I don't think you'd ever really need to do 2 trains, right? You would just need to have them stop by. Unfortunately, we can't quite get out that way. Yeah, that would be the way to do it. It might be worth taking this guy. Yeah, let's put another one up. Let's get rid of some of this. And we're going to put this guy a little bit more like we had him over there, right? Yeah, so this way, yeah, we want this. What we can do, I just want to make sure that attaches. That's always key. So what we could do here, it won't attach, but then you can do like, that's a little ugly, but that's all right. We might change it anyway. So then this guy could go over to that one, right? So again, they don't have to pass through. It just is a little easier to pass through. And then this guy, oh yeah, see, this is the kind of thing you want to measure out. I don't know. You kind of want to measure out the distances here before you actually set things. So like, I don't think there could, let's get rid of some view. But to see, then it would have to get back out of here and head on over to this one, right? So I'm okay with this kind of doing what we're suggesting here, but then it would want to come back out. Yeah, so this guy would come from another one like over here. No, stop doing that. Does that make sense? But then this guy would have to cross over this one. Right, to go to another one. Now, how much of this crossing we want to do versus building a railroad track there. But I'm wanting to move all of this a little bit further over that way. Now, what is this guy? So this guy's going to come to this one. So at this point, I think I would move it far enough away that this guy could come right on out. This guy... Yeah, I'm thinking rather than all of this, I'm thinking this guy needs to come out this way. right? Does that make sense? Yeah, let me go back and like rearrange this and push this further this way. What I'm trying to do, I don't mean to not show you guys everything, but I don't want to take up like 10 million, like we're going to run out of time, and I'd like to get at least a really good idea of the setup done without taking too much time, right? I know we're only like maybe halfway or so into the episode, but yeah, let me move all of this over a little bit and work it out so that this guy can come straight on into this one and then get this guy to come out the other side of this one possibly. All right, I'll show you what I mean in a minute if that didn't make sense. Okay, what do you guys think? It's a lot of fiddling, farting, in getting this. But what I did was, and I think I had most of this done, but I ended up moving all this further over this way. Like you can kind of see where the brown marks were originally. And I ended up stretching this out. At one point I had one of these there, but this needs to be where we drop off steel so I can go to the steel thing, right? And then what I've done is the trains should be able to, first of all, you should be able to have two trains on here, right? Though you might, you might get into a bit of a signaling mess, but at least if nothing else, we'll have the option to bring one train into here, fill it up. It can either go to this one and then come back out and go over to the other factory, or it could come back and then go right to the other factory, right? So I made sure this was like, it could come out of here and go over to this other one way or the other, right? So this means we can get two trains on here if we really needed to, which I really doubt we will. Or the trains can go any which way but loose, if that makes sense. Same thing over here, though I did it a little bit different. So now, I have three of these all hooked up. I'm not sure exactly that this is where this is going to go, but it looks like we could bring the train in. I did level out some more over here just because this was like actually right on the edge. So like now we can get these other train tracks around here. No reason that it can't turn back in, right? These don't have to be stuck out further. But what I was now thinking of doing is we have all of this stuff in the way, right? And we really don't need that. So what I want to do, and I want to show you something I kind of learned the other day. I think when I was doing those farm fields, maybe you guys have done this. I never have. But as long as you don't get that message in your way, like let me put this off to the side, right? I want to click and hold the delete. And if you notice, look, I'm deleting all these buildings. Now, see that? I don't know if you ever did that or not. Let's hit play pause. I think I missed one, yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know if you ever did that. Just clicked and hold. But it's a lot easier to get rid of it. After I did my field testing the other day, I did that. So what I'd like to do is a couple things. One, I want to look at this one and question whether or not I need this big long loop around the back, right? I think I'd be better off probably putting this at a bit of an angle. So let's do that now. Play pause. And then let's get rid of at least some of its railroad track. All right, now let's go back over to here. Yeah, we had it this way. I mean, I don't think there's any particular reason it couldn't go like that. I think I might have, let's see, did I get it in the right spot for this? Yeah, and then let's take a look at railroad track. Oop, I don't necessarily want the electric one just yet. We will electrify all of these, but yeah. So, I mean, we can kind of bring that back to here and then over this way, which means all of this doesn't need to be quite that big. And same thing with all of this. Right now, this guy just needs to get, yeah, let's see, is that, let's come out straight just a little bit. There you go. Doesn't need to be right up against that other guy. All right, so that saves a little bit of room anyway. Not a huge amount, but I think that's kind of fine. And then we'll see. So what I want to do, and I'll just going to try my best to mirror everything here. So in other words, like, let me just try to do that again. It's fiddly, so I'll do it, off of camera, but I'm going to put another one of these things with this setup of buildings as best I can. And then the question will be, how do we get each one to match up with its partner, right? Like, so in other words, this one will match up pretty easy. This one's already lined up. So I think these two back ones are in good shape. But then I need to get each one of these somehow to line up with its partner. So maybe we put a bridge here on this one. But I'll see. Let me at least get the other building built, and then we'll do a little bit of the railroad connecting together. But again, it just gets, you could spend a half an hour just doing this one little bit, But I think it looks pretty good. I mean, it looks like a lot's going on there, but I like it, All right, guys, I'll be right back. Okay, I worked out a bunch of it. Sorry about that. I mean, I know it would be good to see some of it on camera, but we'll try to work out the rest of it. How does that sound? But there we go. So what we have is, it's not quite mirrored, but we've got something that's pretty close to mirrored, because the problem is the buildings aren't symmetric, right? It's not like you can just flip it over and get the opposite view. But here we go. Here's our steel tied together on the same track here to this steel. Now this outside one, a little bit easier because I just went and looped it all the way around the outside to here. So then we have this one. It doesn't really matter what these do, right? So it goes into this whole convoluted loop right there, fills this one, and then comes over on the little bit further bridge and ties into this one, right? So then we have this one. Let's start back over here. Like these two, one on each, tie into this bridge, right? And then this one ties across here, goes across this bridge, and then ties into this one, and then comes to here. We already did this one. So now the last thing I need to do is get these two. So this one goes under this bridge and under these bridges, right? And goes, see that, like here? So that's, these two here are kind of matched up. Now this is kind of a convoluted mess, but you can see where, if you send a train into here, as long as it's not too long, that's the only other problem is these trains, but it's fine. All they're doing is running stuff from here to here, right? Like this is just a replacement for some trucks. So, and if we only have one, which is my plan, I'm not even sure. The only other problem is this may cause a problem because it might not be able to turn around unless it's a really short train that fits in this, right? So I might have to do some tweaking, to make sure that the run-ins are long enough that it can turn around and actually go back the other way. So we'll see. This one's awful short now that I look at it. So I may fine-tune that, maybe off camera between the episodes. All right, so let's get the overall thing at least done, right? We didn't really level too much further this way, but let's see. I guess the best thing to do will be to plop down another one of these far enough away that I can get the train track back out, right? Yeah, so this is probably reasonable right there. So let's go over to railroad tracks and let's turn this guy. And 3.5 is like a real nice thing. Like if you have one in here, 1, 2, 3.5 right there. Like bring this guy up to here. And then when you, oh, I was off a little bit. Why am I off? I don't know. It's almost like, yeah, 1, 2, 3, I don't know. There you go. That's, anyway, around 3.5 is pretty nice. So this guy can come like straight because he's going to come over to this one. So there we go. Now, I did try to leave a little extra room that we could double track this. Like, for example, like getting through that bridge, I could double track that. And then same thing here, like we can get another track up through that bridge. So, yeah, the thing I'm really not liking is this turnaround right there. It's not, I think I'm going to make this a little bit longer. It looks like I can too, right? Yeah, you know what? It's bothering me so much. Oh, no, 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 no. I really didn't want to do that. Oh, of all the things. There. Okay, good. Sometimes you just can't ever get those back. Yeah, see, it jumps around on you. You got to really be careful. All right, so we're going to get rid of this. And that. And what I want to do is try to turn this like closer to here. No, you're not going to like that. Yeah, part of the problem is when there's a bridge there, it wants to attach to the bridge like it's another track, right? There we go. I'm getting it. There you go. So what I'm thinking we do there, see now that doesn't seem like a big difference, but that train could be that much longer. Now the other thing we can consider doing is, I really wish these were all on one palette. Yeah, like why have two separate buttons here? I've been switching back and forth. Yeah, let's move this guy. I don't. Where's the road? Oh, the road's right there. That's all right. You know what? We're still going to move this guy. We're just going to be sensitive about the road. So let's go and take and put, you know, road at like this. I don't really care about these roads too much. But what I'd really like to do is sort of so that's really trying to get this guy a little bit further away without causing, you know, like massive issues here. It's looking like that might have even been a problem where it was, right? Yeah, I would think that's probably about. I mean, sometimes these little differences make a difference, right? So now let's switch to here. Make sure this will still attach. Yep. And then we'll come here, and yeah, that's not going to work, but this will. Yeah, so I don't think I did too much, but we did make it a little bit longer, right? Well, maybe we did, maybe we did. Now notice how that wouldn't connect, but then all of a sudden you do that kind of little mid thing, and yeah, and like I said, even though that seems like it was really kind of dumb little change, like now the thing is that we can get a train in there and turn it around, right? So now the question here is, now that we did that, how's the best way to handle this? See, because we can get rid of this, I think, and talk about bringing this guy through the other side, right? Now, how close? Yeah, see, we can make that a lot tighter right in here. Yeah, so let's bring that guy up like as close to this as we can, and that way we can get it as close to that as we can. So that should allow for at least like a little bit longer train. Now the same thing here. It might even be easier to get rid of this one and see, now you got to switch back over to this guy and then come here. Yeah, let's do R. Yeah, see, that's getting awful far away. Yeah, I don't think there's any real making that. Well, I think I just messed up is all I did. come back here and just get rid of some of this, and then. And I say that because I don't think we're going to get that any further away realistically. Right? Might have even. Yeah. See, I don't think that's any real bit further. Back to this palette. At least that connected. Yeah, I don't think that's significantly different. Yeah, I don't like that. Why are you making extra nodes in there for me, buddy? Let's not have the extra nodes. How's that sound? Yeah, I think that's playing well. We don't need real big trains in here. You know, they're just driving over to here, getting their stuff and getting right back. But that makes me happier. See, all these other ones, you should be able to have a relatively long train. Now this one, if this one came in here, at this point it can't get over to this one, can it? See what I mean? All the rest of them can kind of like switch. Like this one, even though it's a little bit goofy looking, it's going to kind of crisscross itself. It can switch. Now the same problem with this one. Yeah, let's just take a look. Where is the road? Yeah, you know what? This one I might be able to move a little bit. And this is the kind of fiddly, you know, that I'm not sure that you guys really, do you really want to see all of this fiddly? I'm okay with it. It's not like I'm not going to do the fiddly anyway, right? Oh, come on. Yeah, it's one of these. And does the fiddly make a difference? I don't know, but you know, it could. Yeah, I think we'd want to keep it more this way, huh? The problem is I can't quite get it. I can't quite get it to where I think it would attach to the other one, right? Like, I don't think it's going to attach to that middle one, which is what I was hoping. See that? Like, I just don't think. I mean, I could put it there for a second, but see, that's not going to attach to either one of them. Now, let's go back over to the other palette because we can't have one, dude. Yeah, see, that's not going to connect. I kind of need to connect it to this one. And then the problem is, it's just no matter how far away I go, it's just not. Yeah, we can do this. See, so I'll take that, and then if I turn it this way, it's almost defeating the thing. Like, you kind of have to go further away this way in order to be able to get it to maybe attach. I don't know if that just made an improvement or not. Probably not. Not really. Didn't make any difference. If anything, it makes it worse because now I don't have as much room to turn this way, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, so that should be straight. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, so let's just put it back to the way it was. Yeah, I could cheat it a little bit more this way, maybe. I don't even know if that'll connect. It like when they're real short, it really likes to be straight. So now let's just see. Let's do the best we can. And can we? One thing we might be able to do is kind of come out this way. Can we spin around? Maybe a little bit less come out that way. Let's spin around. No, stop that. Yeah, like that. Pull it back a little bit. Can we get around? You can see why I was trying to get it to spin around. Yeah, a little bit further this way. The problem is I couldn't quite make that turn. So let's see what happens here. Yeah, come up. Get me from there. See that, and that's another problem. Once you get close, it thinks you want to go straight on this track. It doesn't realize you want to come off this way, right? Not until you, see what I mean? Like it's assuming you want to parallel this one. It doesn't realize this one's up in the air and this one's not. The only way to fix that is, and then you got to be real careful, because if you cut this back the wrong amount, it really starts to fight you. So yeah, let's see here. What I'm trying to do is get it attached from here to here, right? So let's just see what happens if we do like this. Yeah, we got to get rid of, let's get rid of as much of that track as we feel comfortable getting rid of. Yeah, see, it's just not going to really like that turn. See what I mean? It's just going to be too much of a turn there. So that's why I was hoping to get it to, yeah, let's see, what's the tight, is this the tightest we can make? Yeah, let's see, can we just sort of, yeah, that's the tightest turn we can make. Can we get, yeah, go long. Come on, you were almost doing it. If this other track wasn't there, we'd have got away with that. See, like we were almost, yeah, let's just do this then. See, it gets all discombobulated by that other track. Yeah, see, it's not, there's just not enough room. Now, the only other thing to say is, could we, yeah, there's just not enough room to turn the damn thing and get it into here. And there's not enough room because this is a bridge, right? Like it's not like I can fiddle with it too much. So how do we get it to come? I want it to be able to come from one and go to the other one. All right, let me work on this. You guys get the idea. Again, I'm just going to put another cut in, and if we got to go into another episode, we will. But let me think really hard about this, and I'll be back. Okay, we are making some progress. I think that was a lot to do about, probably not something that was that worth it, but now we can get a longer train in there. So we might want to decide, like, what are the things we need the most of. If there's something like fabric you need a little bit more, we might put it on this one. I was noticing, like, this guy's a little bit short right here as far as being able to get in. But then the other side of this guy is, you know, he does have a long run in. But, again, I think we're just going to have one. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. But I need to be able to get them in here and turned around to go the other direction, right? All right, so anyway, so I think that we can continue with this little portion here, that we might need to do a little bit more leveling at this moment. So let's come up here and, yeah, we didn't really work on this too much. Yeah, I don't think that did too much for us either, did it? So see, this is really not level, it's more uphill. I'm not sure that we want to go so far uphill at this point. Maybe come down a little bit closer to where we'd want to be for like our regular old storage, right? There we go. Give us enough room to get started anyway. And yeah, so this guy should be, these don't really matter too much because they're, yeah, we'll cheat it. There we go. We can always level around it or pick it up if we have to. And then, yeah, this seems to be a trend that this one, and this again should be like a regular warehouse storage here. Just as long as we can poke. Oops, what's wrong? Yep, see, when you start getting on a hill, it really starts fighting you. But I think we'll be all right for that little bit. Yeah, now we got to switch back over again. There we go. Good. railroad track. Now the other thing I just had a thought of is I need to get a train in to build all of this stuff. That's going to be kind of tough, you know, like because you're constantly fighting. Can they go back the other way and all that kind of thing? So we're just going to have to see what works out with that. I don't know. That's going to be a bit of a nightmare. All right, so let's so let's just start doing this. So this needs, I guess you should stay with that guy, but then you need to make it past here, right? Yeah, I don't know why we wouldn't just do all of them right next to each other. Right? Well, let's go straight a little bit longer. And then we'll... Now, what I do want to do, and let me just see how this lines up at this point. Right, is I want to necessarily have, I want to have an out. So this is all like the trains coming in. So the question is, you know, we're going to have two trains and I want the possibility. So like each one of these would have to have like a minimum storage area, which I think, this definitely would if we made it this long, right? So in other words, when I say storage, I mean, there could be a train sitting here before this one were to go back out. Now the question is, how do we want to get them back out? Do we want to just loop it around like this? Now the problem with looping it around like this is that you're talking about looping this one around like that as well, right? So that's going to be crisscrossing an awful lot. Now if we have them just go back out the other way, we could have them crisscross, but it would be like further up here, right? So let's just leave that for a minute. So like, let's pretend, let's get rid of this connection between there and there, right? And so this guy would actually be we'd have to bring this guy a little bit straighter, longer. See, so I would do something like this with each one. Right, and then this guy would at some point like no, you had it, buddy. I don't know that you really did what I wanted you to, though. Sometimes you gotta, there you go. That's what I definitely wanted you to do. So like, this would be the in and out of this one, where we would stage a train right here and then run this guy back out. And then we would have all our crissing and crossing happening further away, right? Like, maybe even have some like tunnel or bridges or something up there as well. That makes sense. And then this guy would do like kind of something similar, where we would then have, I don't know if, I guess we should bring it out from like here. See, again, I don't know if it's doing what I want it to. No, stop that. All right, and so then this guy would be coming back in the other way. All right, so this would be the out for this one, and then somehow we'd have to get them crossed over at some point. Like, I don't mind that they mess each other up, but I don't want it to be, and see, we'd have to move all that over to get this in. Yeah, this is the final one. So these would have to go even further, right? All right, let me do two things. One, I want to add up all the different little segments here so we get about an hour-long episode. And then also, let me just move these over now that I realized I kind of messed up. And I'm going to do this and then see what I can do to like crisscross them further up ahead where they're not going to cause too many problems. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, we have a few minutes left, so let's go over what I did. looks like a real rail yard kind of, doesn't it? So anyway, just starting here, I branched each of them out into 4 loops. The idea would be eventually, this will be one way in, one way out, one way in, one way out, right? Same thing here. Now I have them crisscrossing. After I left plenty enough room that we can get the other trains sitting in here on the inbound, right? So if we had 2 or who knows, maybe even 3 trains, we could have them sitting in here, but at least certainly 2. And then that other train could make its way back out. The next one pulls in, right? Same thing here. Plenty long in between here, well, really right here and back here. Same thing here. This one kind of wraps up around the corner a bit just to make sure I got plenty to put a train on this track. And then I just have this, like the final coming together and going all happens in this mega mess. Whatever you want to call it. But they all should come together one way or the other in a way that actually makes more sense than it looks. So again, they're combining some of these here, just like the same way with this one. So you can see this outgoing one comes over here, outgoing one comes over to there, incoming, and anyway, it's hard to follow, but it all makes sense. All down to 2 lanes coming in and out. So hopefully, I think that'll work pretty well, right? And again, the biggest problem that I'm seeing here is that, how am I going to get these in and out of here? We may talk about special Martian people coming, and I'll just pay them extra Martian rubles or something like that, and we'll get all of this magically built. Maybe we'll get connected and built what we can, like these bridges. But then just like the little, like I could bring a line over to here, say, right? We can even maybe do it now. Look at this, just for construction purposes. We could bring a line in, like and attach it. No, go the other way. You had it right. Right, if we attached a line like that, we wouldn't be able to finish this one little bit, but at least we could get the rest of it kind of done, right? Same thing here. Like, I'd like to really be able to get, and see, like each one of these is like its own separate thing, so we'd have to do things like this if that would even work, right? Yeah, so it's just going to be a mess getting in here, trying to get all those done. And see, because that's like 2 turns. Yeah. Well, this one could probably maybe connect up like, there's like 100 ways we could connect them all up. And see, and then this guy could probably, I bet you this might work. Come on. No. What are you doing? Come on. Oh, dark game save. There you go. Right. So like that would connect quite a few. He could get in there and work on these 2 bridges with that. There'd just be this like little bit here he couldn't get done. Yeah, that really wouldn't be too bad because they could go either direction here. They could get quite a bit in there done. So like I said, we'll just have to go along and see, probably do a similar maneuver right here now that we look at it, right? And then if you had something like this, you could get over to this track, get a bunch of all that built. You'd still have the issue with spinning around this way, but, we'll see. Like, I think we can do those temporary things pretty easily. Maybe we'll get more than I was actually thinking. Here we go. So I think we're right probably about an hour, and I think that's probably a good place to stop, right? Let's take a far away look. We have planned our things. Now, unfortunately, it's going to be a little while before we actually build all of this stuff, of course, because we still have to we haven't even, oh yeah, we did get this hooked up. Yeah, very good. So, but we don't have any supplies up here, so expect that in the next episode, we're going to talk about getting the construction supplies over this way, and know that this construction office won't even be the main one over here. It'll help us, but I really want to get like on the other side of this town. I want to get a big distribution area here where we run up with train loads of steel and gravel and everything else kind of over into here. And then we can send them over to here to work. We can send them here to work to some degree, we can send them up to these quarries to work, right? And probably another rail construction office somewhere in this area here. So this will be, help us push over into here to the cement and prefabs. But yeah, we want to, so I'm probably going to end up leveling, some area like right in here that's not going to interfere with the town. But like probably just continue this level flat spot. We probably want to take advantage of this, right? So within the bounds of we need to get people over here. Yeah, we'll take a look. So in the next episode, I would plan on another planning session where we start, seriously talking about where are we going to put our actual town and the distribution so that we can get all our construction supplies in here. But while we're here together, let's go ahead and commit to the railroad tracks just so we don't end up deleting them by accident. And then we'll commit to all these connections. Then I'm not going to worry about that road right now. But yeah, we got to get in here and get the roads. We got to get power. We got to get still plenty of work to do. But that's all right. We made a big step forward in our whole thing. And I know quite a few people have been looking forward to the cars. So while it'll still be a while and we still have to prioritize getting steel so that we can actually build the cars, at least we're starting to talk about a planning of it, right? There you go, guys. Well, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.